What's up everybody and welcome back to Team Pizza Plays. I of course am Whatthefnu, here to present you with all the glitches and bugs I found in Shantae Half-Genie Hero. Bear in mind this game is just the demo and not the final product, so everything you see is subject to change. Change I hope to invoke with this video because I will be posting it in the relevant portion of the Way Forward forum, so if it seems like I'm talking to the developers at some points, well, that's because I am. So without further ado, let's get into it. Oh boy, let's talk about collision detection, because if you know what you're doing, this first stage is full of problems involving it. The biggest of which is something I call the monkey dive. Ride upwards on a vertically scrolling platform, then turn into a monkey before it stops moving and jump off. Then, shortly after landing on your new platform, turn back into normal Shantae. By doing this on certain surfaces, you can actually make Shantae fall through the floor, even when she's not normally supposed to be able to jump down through. If you get her into a monkey dive state and then jump into water, Shantae will dive down incredibly far, much farther than she would normally go if you just jumped in the regular way. What I think is happening here is that when you transform while being forced upwards, it screws with Shantae's hitbox, so when you land on another surface and turn back, the game thinks that Shantae is actually lower in the world than she actually is, causing her to pass through the floor's collision that would normally stop you. When you use this trick on a surface that has no floor, like water, it takes considerably longer for the bug to correct itself. As you can imagine, this has many entertaining uses, not the least of which being able to pass through the floor here to access this treasure chest that's normally out of reach. And, well, I'll just let my live reaction to this speak for itself. Oh no, I hit the floor. Whoa! Holy cow! That was unexpected. Oh, but look at all this treasure. And I just crashed the game. Holy cow! Now, before you consider taking this trick out of the final game, I want to bring up how bad this glitch actually is. Could it allow for some horrendous sequence breaking and leaving the player in impossible situations, or just a jump here or there? Because if it's not that big an issue, I would suggest actually leaving it in, because this would be an incredible speedrunning trick in the right hands. It's one of those questions I wish I could give you a more definitive opinion on, but because I don't have all the assets to work with, just a vertical slice that you gave me, you're ultimately the only ones who can make an accurate judgment call on this one. I leave it in your capable hands. Speaking of moving through walls, moving platforms have more interesting uses with the monkey. For one, you don't slide off of them from just hanging on the side for a while like you do with any other surface. And if you do this here, where the platforms can run into each other, you can actually get pushed into the one you're currently riding. So that's kinda weird. Stage 2 doesn't have nearly as many problems with its physics. There aren't any moving platforms anyway, so I can't figure out how to get somewhere I shouldn't be and crash the game again. Yet. There are, however, armored crows dropping cactus on me, and if I get this one to drop his little buddy in just the right spot, he'll pass clean through the floor. Even more amusingly, I can push the block into the wall after he's in there and effectively neutralize the foe. This is especially useful considering that another crow won't spawn until this guy bites the dust. Stage 3 also sports one more area-specific glitch, where if I push Shantae against the right side wall, she'll repeatedly get pushed back. My suggestion here is also on the sake of speedruns, but here I'm definitely suggesting that you fix it, because at the end of the area, the screen will only transition after Shantae auto-slides herself off the screen a certain distance, which takes longer the further back she is. This could shave a good chunk of time off a run, so everyone could probably do without the process being needlessly difficult and having to time it just perfectly at the end of the stage. Now, there's one final glitch that can be performed in either stages 1 or 2. Normally, when Shantae hits her head on a ceiling, it'll cancel out her upward momentum and send her back down to the ground. However, certain frames of her attacking animation are not coded to register the collision this way, and she'll actually carry the upward momentum of her jump if she attacks into the ceiling as she hits it, making it appear as if she's hanging from the surface. Again, this one seems pretty harmless to me, even more so than the monkey dive, but again, I'm also working with limited resources to analyze, so the ultimate call is up to you guys. It definitely gives you some distance in places you normally wouldn't have it, but beyond that, it's just kind of fun to do. Now before we go, I'd like to point out some little graphical nitpicks, just a few, like this leaf at the beginning of level 1 that has an otherworldly white outline around it, and a rather out-of-place reflection in the water nearby. Something tells me you already knew about those, though. Gamers are gamers, even when we're called beta testers, and as gamers, we have a habit of focusing on the gameplay first, ergo, how I structured this video. It's not a bad habit per se, but it can be a little detrimental to a company looking to improve their product in totality. Sure enough, I didn't even notice these until I was recording background music for this video, and it reminded me to look for those kinds of things from that point forward, so I'm not entirely convinced you didn't leave them there intentionally. Or maybe it was a genuine screw-up, but I like to assume the best in people. Oh, and these butterflies in the background? Very nice touch, and I'm not just saying that. They really make this jungle area feel alive. At least until I realized they were being attacked by someone with a shrink ray. Another detail that seems somewhat out of place to me is right here in Stage 2. There's a hole separating this platform from the wall. Now the reason I bring this up is because the carved and intricate platform itself already stands out quite a bit from its more natural surroundings. I realize it's because of the ruins hidden just below the water, and I'm usually willing to accept visual compromises for the sake of play, but that area of dead space really emphasizes how out of place this thing is. And while we're on the subject of objects not being natural, how about that wind, eh? And how about the plants that don't react to its presence at all? At least I think they're not reacting. If they are, it's barely noticeable, which is a little odd considering this gale is strong enough to push a fully grown adult several feet backwards. The fact that the palm trees react while the bushes don't just exasperates the contrast. It just looks weird. But it is a minor detail, so if you think it's too small to fix, I totally understand. And that's all the bugs and glitches I could find in normal gameplay. Well, other than my resolution settings going back to their default values every time I reset the program. So, I hope some of my findings in this video were useful, interesting, or both. And like I said, I will see you all next time when the final game is released later this year. Until then, I'm Whatthefnu. Later, everybody!